Hi. So, in this class, welcome to this class. In this class, we'll be talking about powers and what are powers actually in mathematics. Powers are, they are a result of, repetitive multiplication. So, for instance, if you have, the same number that is multiplying itself, then it becomes a power to the number of times that the number is appearing. So for instance, you have 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. A very simple way of writing this will mean 2 raised to the power of 5. Because then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so you could just say it's 2 raised to the power of 5. And another example could be 5 times 5 times 5, which is basically 5 raised to the power of 3. So it's basically saying like 3 5s are multiplying each other. That's the simple way to put it. Now, what are the laws of powers? So here we move straight to the laws of powers. So in mathematics, we have the first law is the power unity. So what is power unity? It states that whatever thing that is raised to 1 is basically itself. So if you have 3 raised to the power 1, then it's equal to 3. If you have 5 raised to the power 1, it's equals to 5. Because basically this is only one case of 5, so yeah, it just becomes 5. This is the first law of power. And then another one is the zero law, basically, which states that anything raised to the power of 0 is equal to 1. So if you have 5 raised to the power of 0 is equal to 1. So these are like standards, standards in the laws of power, right? So and then when you want to go to another law, we have the multiplication. And addition of powers. This law is kind of, not so straightforward, but what this is trying to say is, assuming you have a number, say you have two numbers, like 8 times 4. Now, if we want to break these numbers down into powers, we could call this 8 is basically 2 times 2 times 2, right? And times 4 is basically, just a moment. So basically you have, for 4 you have 2 times 2. And what this is basically saying is 2 raised to the power 3 times 2 raised to the power 2. And the answer is 2 raised to the power 3 plus 2. So which gives you 2 raised to the power 5. In a very, very straightforward method, what we are also saying here is, if you have a case where 3 raised to the power 5 times 3 raised to the power 6, then what you could just do in this case is, because they have the same base number, then you could say 3 raised to the power 5 plus 6, which is 3 raised to the power 11. So that is the case of multiplication. In the case of multiplication, now in the case of division, what is the case of division? Now, in the case of division, what happens is you subtract the first number from the second number. So division. Division is like subtraction, right? So if you have 2 raised to the power 5 divided by 2 raised to the power 2, then in this case you say 2 raised to the power 5 minus 2, which is equal to 2 raised to the power 3. So this is an easy way to do the division. So another very good example is 8 divided by 4. We all know this is equal to 2. But then if we want to basically do it in this form, then we could say 2 raised to power 3 divided by 2 raised to power 2. And when we do 2 raised to power 3 minus 2, then we have 2 raised to power 1, which is giving us 2. So, this is a very, basic, law in terms of the way we handle powers. And so basically we will still take one more law, which is very, very important law. And then we're going to write it here now. And what is this law? So this law is like, it's basically like a law that says that when you have, just a moment, we're almost there with a blank slate again. So what is this fifth law? The fifth law of power is saying like multiplication of power. So what is this law? So this law is basically saying, so in a case where you say, 4 times 4, for instance, this is a case of having like something like a square root. Now, on a normal sense, we could say that if this is based on the fact that this is 4, that is 4 times, right? This is basically saying 4 times 4 raised to power 1, and then we could say 4, 1 plus 1, which is 4 raised to power 2, right? But even 4 itself, 4 as a number itself is 2 raised to power 2. So we know that this is equal to 4, right? So here, 4 raised to power 2 is basically equal to 2 raised to power 2 squared of it. So what does this mean? So now, this is a very funny situation, but whenever you have this type of situation, you just basically say 2 times 2. So you just open this bracket and then you multiply here, and then you have 2 raised to power 4. So this is the case. And I mean, this is also the same thing as 4 times 4. When you do the multiplication, because you have 4 2s basically. So this is the same thing as saying if you have 3 raised to power 5 and then you cube it. So in this case, this is 3 raised to power 5 times 3, which is basically 3 raised to power 15. So I mean, these are the main laws of power. And so basically in the next class we will still look at some very important part of power. We will look at fractional powers and roots, and then we will look at sorts. So basically you can let us catch up in the next one.